Now, I've had people tell me, oh, you're pretty funny. I wish I could think like you. And first of all, no, you don't. Second of all, no, you really don't. The way I think is the reason why I can never go on an airplane. In an airplane. On an airplane is just way too windy. But if I were to take a commercial flight, I'm not making it past the safety instructions at the beginning. As soon as they start to explain the seatbelt, I'm just standing up and saying, sorry everybody, sorry, security's about to be called on me. I apologize for the delay, can't help myself, it's just the way I am. Seatbelts in a car makes sense. Goes across your lap, goes across your chest. It makes you part of the car. If you're in an accident, it decelerates you safely so you don't smack into the windshield or the steering wheel or the dashboard. And cars are going 20, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. It keeps you safe. It makes sense. The average jet travels at a speed of roughly 550 miles an hour. And that seatbelt only goes across your lap. So that means if that plane hits a mountain, all that seatbelt is going to do is slice me neatly in half. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's what they want. Make it fun for the coroner, so he can mix and match. It'll be my torso and the legs of the Asian gentleman in 12B. And really, as long as it's a closed casket, nobody knows, nobody's hurt, everyone's having fun. Actually, you're not supposed to have fun at a funeral. Even though the word funeral has the word fun at the beginning. And let's say that the seatbelt doesn't cut me in half. It just stops me. All that means is that my forehead is going to meet my knees at a little less than the speed of sound. That's not better. And let's say I somehow make it past that part of the instruction, and they say, this is a non-smoking flight. I'm getting kicked off there. They're like, why is any place still smoking in the year 2024? I don't know about you, but anytime I see someone my age or younger smoking, I'm just puzzled. Why? Did you not get the memo? It's not like smoking is a good thing in any way, shape, or form anymore. In the 30s or 40s, yeah, it was cool. We didn't know any better. I was listening to an old Abbott and Costello album, and they had an ad for cigarettes on there where a doctor was talking about which brand he preferred and recommended to his patients. Do you think any doctor is recommending any cigarettes to their patients now? If they are, you don't want that person as a doctor. And people say stuff like, why do you smoke? Well, it helps me lose weight. Oh yeah, because there's not like 1,000 pills available for that anymore. Oh, it helps to calm me down. There are more therapists available now than at any point in my life. And really, I just see someone smoking, and I think to myself, it's sort of like if I saw them just taking a baseball bat and smacking themselves in the privates. Why are you doing that? It's not good. It just causes nothing but pain. Yeah, but my dad got hit a lot in the groin when I was growing up. I guess I picked it up from him. I think anytime I see that, I think that the American educational system has failed. Back when I was growing up, I think teachers had a little bit more leeway to scare kids. Because my teachers scared me to death about cigarette smokes. You see those ads, the truth ads, that show people on ventilators or like missing half of their jaw? Not as scary as when I was in school. And I was going to do one thing, but I think I'm going to save that for Adults Only Friday Night Live. It's a teaser. I'm going to try and get you back. But this is why you don't want to think like me. Because do you want to end up on a no-fly list? No, you don't. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was, I was trying to desperately think of something to add a little bit of runtime to this little bit I had tonight. And fate provided. Because earlier this week, when all that rain was coming, on Tuesday, I'm getting ready to go to work. And I happened to hear my sump pump in the basement, and it's running constantly. And it's not supposed to. It's supposed to pump the water out, then reset, and get ready for the next round. And it's going on and on and on. And I figure I'd better go fix that, because if that motor burns out, it's going to be a bad time for Jason when I get home. I go into the basement, find the problem, fix it, and then I happen to look over at my furnace. And my furnace has a pipe that comes out, goes to the chimney, and has a vent on the side. And out the side of that vent, I see a bird's head sticking out. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but animals rarely go backward. Think about it. Anytime you see a squirrel or a chipmunk or a rabbit, where they're facing is where they're going. And I have just enough time to realize this is going to be bad before the bird leaves the vent, and here we go. I am now chasing a small black bird around my basement, something I don't have a lot of experience in. And at first, I am using a broom handle, just a broom handle, not the rest of the broom. I keep a broom handle just in case I break a broom handle. I'm not normal. Again, you don't want to think like this. And I'm trying to poke the bird, and the bird is just flying to any one of the lights I have in the basement, not going up the stairs to the door, which I have propped open. So I turn off the lights in the basement, but it still has lights coming from a couple windows. So now I'm trying to shoo this bird out of my basement using a sheet of Dollar Tree foam board, waving it as it's flying at my head. And this is not a way I wanted to start my day. And finally, after probably about 10-15 minutes, I have finally shooed it up the stairs to the door, and it's just smacking into the glass of the door instead of going. Finally, it goes around the door outside, and I slam the door, and I think, finally. And then I have to call work and say, I'm going to be late, because I had a problem with the sump pump in my basement, which is reasonable, and I had to chase a bird out of my basement, which is not reasonable. I never thought I would have to say those words. I get to work, and I get through my day, just replaying this thing in my head, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope the sump pump did not throw a snit fit, because that's going to be bad when I get home. I get home, first thing I do is I go down into the basement. Sump pump is working fine, no water to speak of. And now I look up and I see that bird is sitting on a remote control plane that I had built. Now, I don't swear on stage. That's just a line I set for myself. I rarely swear at work, and whenever I do, it amuses my coworkers to no end because they know Dark Jason has come out to play. But don't take that to mean that I don't swear at all. Oh no, in this case, there was swearing. Voluminous swearing, excessive swearing, creative swearing, all over the place. Because now the sun has gone down. I don't have light from the windows to contend with, but I do have the lights in the basement, and the bird keeps flying up to those. So I have to turn the lights in the basement off. I'm now in the dark with a black bird going into the rafters, flying at my face like a miniature Dracula. And I have this little cheap GoPro knockoff that has a headband with it, and I wear sometimes if I'm trying to record myself flying those planes. I almost wanted to put that on, just because I realized that this was so stupid, and if something happened to me, I wanted to have some sort of proof. Because if I walk into the emergency room with my face all cut up, what happened to you? A bird attacked me in my basement. Do you think they're going to believe me without photographic evidence? No. So again, I'm in the dark. This thing is flying at my face. I'm having to use cans of compressed air, which I'm turning upside down, which you shouldn't do. But this bird has irritated me, and now I figure, like, if it gets a little bit frosty, that's on the bird. And it took probably about another 20 minutes for me to get the thing out of the basement, up the stairs, to the door, and it promptly just sits on top of the door. And I'm swinging at it, and it flies up to the light above it, and it comes back down to the top of the door. Mind you, freedom is this far away. And it's just like rubbing his face on the door and mocking me. And finally, I got it out of the house, slammed the door, and then I took one of these strainer things, and I zip tied it to that vent on the side of my furnace, which is something I'm going to have fun explaining to Bloom the next time they come over to service. Like, what's that? I said, I had invaders in my house. It was the dumbest thing I've dealt with in quite some time, and I figured you might enjoy that. And that reminded me of a song I've been trying to think of a way to work into one of these shows. And since I was almost too late for work, so it would cause me to get a point up against me, I figured this is a good time to drop this little song. Dear boss, I write this note to you to tell you of my plight. And at the time of writing, I am not a pretty sight. My body is all black and blue, my face a deathly gray. And I hope you'll understand why Murphy's not at work today. While working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. But tossing them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't pleasant, he's one of those awful jocks. He said I'd have to cart them down the ladder in a box. Now clearing all these bricks by hand, it was so awful slow. So I hoisted up a barrel and secured a rope below. But in my haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks is heavier than me. And so when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead. And clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket, till to my surprise I found halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Now the barrel broke my shoulder as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top I hit the pulley with my head. I spun around all stunned and shocked from this almighty blow, as the barrel spilled out half the bricks 14 floors below. Now when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and I started down once more, still clinging tightly to the rope, me body racked with pain. Halfway down, I met the bloody barrel once again. Now the force of this collision halfway down the office block caused multiple contusions and a nasty state of shock. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I headed toward the ground and landed on the broken bricks that were all scattered round. Now as I lay there on the ground, I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks fell down on me, I didn't have a hope, for as I lay there bleeding, I let go of the bloody rope. The barrel being unsecured, then started down once more, struck across me smartly as I lie there on the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say, I hope you'll understand why Murphy's not at work today.
Mr. Jason Allen, always entertaining.
Yes.